Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm actually really nervous to film this. I'm gonna try not to edit this video too much. I want it to be as raw and honest as possible, not very kind of structured like my other videos. I'm always editing videos and cutting into my ums and my ands, and if I pronounce a word wrong, I say it again and I edit it out. I'm gonna try not to do that for this video because I want it to seem like I'm having a real conversation with you guys, and I'm just sitting here by myself. Eloise is asleep and the other two kids are out with my husband, and I just want to open up to you guys and talk to you guys about something that I have struggled with in the past. This is not going to be a very happy video, I guess, but it does have a happy ending. I may get emotional, I may get, or I may just not want to talk about certain things. I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of wing it. I didn't practice this or rehearse this in my head too much of how I was gonna talk about it. I was just gonna kind of talk about it like I'm talking to my friends. So today I'm gonna be opening up about my postpartum depression with my second child. I recently had my third baby. If you're new to my channel, I have 3 kids. Ethan, who's 6, Amelia, who'll be 3 in May, and then Eloise, who just turned 3 months old. See, I'm already starting to stutter, and this is usually what I would edit out. I recently had my third, but when I had my second, so rewind to the past, when I had Amelia, I had postpartum depression, and I actually had it pretty quick. So postpartum depression can be very different for a lot of people, and a lot of times people confuse postpartum depression with baby blues, which I think almost all of us deal with baby blues. I know I've dealt with it with my third baby, but I know the difference between that and postpartum depression because I've dealt with postpartum depression before. Also, disclaimer, this is how you know I haven't really thought out this video. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not here to give medical advice. If you believe you are suffering with depression or postpartum depression or anything like that, I advise you to talk to a doctor about it and they will help you. I'm just telling my story. I'm not trying to give any kind of advice or I guess medical advice to anyone, but the only advice I can give is to get help from a doctor. And yeah, but anyways, so when Amelia was born, I actually really clicked with her instantly. I just had an instant click with her, a bond with her, and it was very special. But I want to say at around 2 or 3 months, I think started to change in me. And I say in me because I never want her to come across this video and feel like she was the problem, because she wasn't. Oh my god, I'm really gonna cry. Okay. And I think, oh my god, the reason I've held back on talking about this is because I wanted to hide it from her, because I don't want her to ever feel like because of her mom was unhappy. Postpartum depression is a hormonal thing. It is a chemical imbalance in your body. It has nothing to do with the child, and I think it took me a really long time to realize that, because I didn't get help for a long time because I thought I was the problem, and I thought that there was something wrong with me. Oh my god, I'm like 2 minutes into this video and I started crying. This is why I don't talk about this a lot, because I don't like being emotional. Okay. At around 2 months, things started to change in me, and when the change slowly started, and it kind of felt like I was being lazy. I didn't really want to get out of bed. I didn't want to get into the shower. I didn't want to get anything done around my house. And at first I just thought I was exhausted, which is normal to be exhausted when you have a baby. But then I quickly realized it was more than just being exhausted or lazy or whatever. I just literally didn't want to get out of bed. I felt like I had, the way I can describe it the best is I had like a ton of bricks wrapped around me, and I just weighed a ton, and like even getting out of bed was a struggle for me. Going to get my baby and feeding her was a struggle for me, and I didn't want to do it. It's the truth. I did it because I had to do it. I fed my kids because I had to feed them. I cleaned my house because it's what I had to do, not because I wanted to do it. And I just kept that to myself for a really long time. I didn't tell my husband that. I didn't tell my mom. I kept that to myself because I thought it was a mental battle, and that I just had to kind of deal with it and push through it, and that it would get better. It did not get better. It actually got worse. And with that, just what I thought at the time was exhaustion and just me being lazy. I had really bad anxiety, and I've always been a naturally anxious person. It's how I am. I worry a lot about things. I've just always been like that since I was very young, but this type of anxiety was to another level. It was anxiety, and I was very paranoid, and it became so bad to the point that I didn't leave my house. I was too afraid to leave my house. I'm not going to get too into details of this because I don't want this video to be triggering to anyone. I just don't want to get into a lot of details, but I would visually like have scenes in my head of something terrible happening to my kids if I left the house, like someone kidnapping them, or worse, just vivid thoughts in my head of terrible things happening to my children, that I would think too much about it and I would have panic attacks. I would start crying, and I would call my husband just being like, you know, the kids aren't safe, and then he would have to be like, they're fine. But I kept a lot of that to myself as well. I would only call him when I had a really bad panic attack, and he just thought it was me being anxious. Neither him or I were ever educated on postpartum depression. I don't think he even knew what postpartum depression was. I had heard of it in the past, but I refused to accept the fact that I had it, because from the cases I did hear, I always heard extreme terrible cases of moms who did horrible things. My camera heated up and it shut down for a bit. What was I saying? But yeah, I just refused to accept the fact that I had postpartum depression. I didn't want to have it. I felt like I was very ignorant in the topic. I just thought that it just meant that you were not a good mom and you weren't a fit parent, and I just was not having it. And that is not true at all. So if you have it, don't think this, because I thought it for a really long time, for a few months actually. I'm like trying to gather my thoughts because I'm trying to remember things. I really have blocked it out because I'm so much better and I'm such a different person from who I was then, that I really have blocked that past out, because it's something I don't like to dwell on or think about a lot, because it was such a hard time in my life. Also, I remember I refused getting help. I didn't call my mom for help, and it's not like she refused to help me. My mom's always been there for me, and she's always told me that she could help me. I just didn't call to ask for help. I didn't really want the help, to be honest. I just wanted to prove it to myself that I can do it on my own. And that did not help me at all, because it just made me more stressed. It made me more upset. Moving forward, I didn't get any help from anyone. It was just me. I refused to accept the fact that I even had anything close to postpartum depression. I thought I was just having a hard time. And I became very anxious and paranoid. And it got to the point where I didn't sleep at night. I would wake up multiple times a night to check that my house was locked, to check that my kids' windows were locked, and that way no one could like go in and get them. I became very paranoid, very afraid in my own home for no reason. For like nothing was out there threatening me or threatening my children. I just felt afraid, and it was such an unnatural feeling that I wasn't sleeping well, and I just felt like something horrible was going to happen. And I didn't tell anybody because I felt like I sounded crazy, and it got to the point where I was even too afraid to give my kids a bath because I was afraid that something would happen to them in the bath. And like I said, I don't want to get into a lot of details, but you guys can kind of put things together. I was afraid for them, and I've never been this way. I take care of my kids when we go out, and it is what it is, but I was afraid to leave my house. I didn't go anywhere unless I had to go somewhere. Or if I went somewhere, I had to go with my husband because I was afraid to do it on my own. And for a really long time, I didn't leave the house throughout the week. I would just stay home. And that, I think, really did not help. I think me staying home just made things so much worse. I was home all day with 2 kids by myself. I didn't really have a lot of friends. I only had at the time like one really good friend, and I think she could even tell you, Camellia. I even shut her out for a little bit. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't really go out. I kind of just did my own thing and thought I could do it all by myself, and I wanted to just prove to myself that I was the best mom. And little did I know that I was a really good mom. I just needed help. After, I want to say, about 2 months of having really bad, or not 2 months, about a month of having really bad anxiety and panic attacks, things got worse. And I started to have a lot of self-doubt and self-hatred. I did not like myself. I refused to look in a mirror because I felt like shit. I felt like I looked like crap, and I felt like my kids did not have enough and I was not enough for them. I don't know how that suddenly happened. Sorry guys, my camera keeps shutting down because I'm talking for too long and it heats up. So I'm not trying to edit this video too much, like I said, but that is why you guys will see some cuts. What was I saying? Okay, so I felt a lot of self-hatred, and I just didn't like the way I felt or looked. I didn't like my life. I didn't like anything about myself for some reason. And it wasn't like I had anyone telling me that, you know, or someone, I don't know, things were fine in my life, in my marriage. My kids, I loved them so much, but I wasn't happy. And I felt I was being very ungrateful with my life. I also felt like there was something wrong with me. I guess not going into a lot of detail of that because I really don't want to go back to that moment in my life because it still is really hard for me. But moving forward from that, things got worse. From me not being able to get out of bed and not properly take care of myself, because my kids, I made sure they were taken care of, even if I didn't want to do it, even if I was tired or what I thought was being tired. Really, it was my struggles, but I made sure they were taken care of. I made sure my kids were good, but I was a mess. Everything about me was a mess. I was just so unhappy with my life. I was so emotional all the time. You couldn't tell me things. My husband could barely talk to me without breaking me, because basically I would just explode, and I had just so much emotion, and it was just like, okay, I'm sorry for even saying anything to you. And you know, we associated that to just me being tired with 2 kids, and I think Amelia was already like 4 months at the time, and I had started YouTube at the time. And I was really good pretending I was okay. I was really good on being happy for everybody else and putting on a happy face. Now, I have suffered with depression in the past. Growing up, I have had it before. But it was very different because this time around, it was kind of like I don't know how to explain it. I still don't know how to put it into words in this video, but it was very different than normal depression to postpartum depression. Very different, because I felt like I could not click with my baby, and that was really hard. I think that's when I had a really big breaking point, was when I couldn't click with Amelia. And that's where things got really hard for me, when I would look at her and I was like, but I love you, because naturally you love your children, but I just don't know how to take care of you. And I remember I just almost felt like I didn't really connect with her. And that happened actually, like I said, 3-4 months later. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. I'm just trying to remember things. And this is the part that really gets me emotional, is I just felt like, almost like I wasn't her mom. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. But I know I am. I am her mom. I gave birth to her. But I just felt so disconnected with her. And I couldn't really feed her much. And I did breastfeed, but I didn't really want to. And it was, sometimes I feel like I was looking at another person, not my child. And I hate that I'm saying that out loud, because I love her with all that's in me, and I love my kids with everything inside of me. And I loved her, and I was like, I love you, but I don't know what's wrong. I cannot click with you. I can't bond with you right now. And that was really hard for me. And when I started experiencing that, I really thought there was something wrong with me. And I don't know what got into me, because I've never been a suicidal person. I've never attempted my life before, or attempted against my life before. Is that how you say it? I don't know. When I realized that I wasn't bonding with her and that I was very disconnected, that's really the only two words I can really put it into, because I still don't have the words to express what I was feeling back then. I shut down completely. And I just, if I thought I wasn't worth anything before, I really convinced myself I wasn't worth anything at all. And I decided that if I could not be a good mom, I was nothing. That I didn't need to be in this world, that no one needed me. I convinced myself that my kids would be better without me, and that my mom or my mother-in-law could step in, oh my God, and take care of them, because I was not good for them. And I convinced myself of this, and it was horrible. Literally, it was like the worst thing I can do to myself. And I convinced myself that my kids would be happier without me, and that the devil is a lie, because that's not true. Oh my God, I hate that I'm crying. I did talk to my husband finally, and I told him what I was feeling. He still couldn't really, like he said, he didn't know what postpartum depression was. So he didn't say you have postpartum depression. He just said, okay, you're not okay right now, and you should get help. We should go get you help. And I became very afraid to get help, because I thought I was going to be judged, and I thought someone was going to take my kids from me and think I was not a good mom. And I already told myself I wasn't a good mom. Now everyone else was going to think I'm not a good mom. So I at first refused to get help, and I told him, no, I'm just going to deal with it at home, and I'm going to get better all on my own. And I'm just going to try not to think about these things, and I'm going to just push them down, and I'm going to ignore the negative thoughts and the negative feelings, and I am going to get better all by myself. And that was a big mistake. I was really bad. My issues with myself still grew, and they grew stronger every day. Not bonding with my child, and feeling like I wasn't meant to be her mom almost, or like I didn't deserve her. I felt like I didn't deserve to be her mom. That grew stronger, and I felt like I was going crazy. I really felt like I was going crazy. I had a mental battle. It was like, just like everything mental. It was like I was fighting inside my head. I couldn't really express myself into words. I still feel like in this video I can't really express myself. I can't put things into words, because it is so hard to express and to put things into words. This is really, really difficult when you're having this mental battle. And to not get into a lot of detail, because it's something that I still hate to admit, and I've kept it a secret for a really long time. Very, very few people know this. Some people will find out after this video of this. When Emily was about 5 months old or so, it's all a blur. It's a big blur. I did attempt to take my own life. Thankfully, my husband saved me. And that's really the only way. I'm just trying not to make this such a, I never say this out loud, because I hate to admit that this happened to me and that I went through this. But I'm not gonna get into detail, like I said, of how or what I did, or none of that. It's no one's business, really. Obviously, I didn't go through with it. I'm here today, but I did attempt against my life, and that was definitely the moment my husband realized that I was not okay. Like, really realized I was not okay. And he, and a lot of things happen also. We would fight a lot. I think I need to also mention that it was taking a toll on our marriage. We would fight a lot. And I blamed him a lot for the issues I was having. And he didn't really understand where all of this was coming from. So we already had issues prior to this. So I did want to add, it wasn't just like, oh, wait, what? He knew things were not okay. But I think this that happened with me doing this, it was a big eye-opener to him, and he realized that I wasn't going to get help on my own, that he had to some way make me get help. And he gave me an ultimatum. He told me, if you do not get help, I will leave you and I will take our kids. And at first when he said that to me, I was so mad. I hated him for doing that to me. I felt like that was so cruel. I felt like he was not sympathetic. I felt like he was not giving me a choice. But I think that's what he had to do at the time, because he couldn't drag me to go get help. I'm an adult. But he also said, I'm not going to sit back and watch you destroy your life. So he told me, and he didn't just tell me, obviously there was a big conversation, there was a lot of tears. I don't want to say a lot on his end because that's his privacy, and you know, that conversation is private, but it was very emotional. It was not an easy conversation for him to have with me, and we've never debated divorce before, but he was pretty much telling me he would leave me. He was divorcing me if I did not go and get help. And he said, if you get help, I will be there with you. I will take time off of work and I will go to every doctor's appointment with you, and we will go to therapy and we will do what we need to do as a team. But like I said, I'm not going to sit back and watch you destroy your life, and I'm not going to allow my kids to watch their mother destroy her life. And obviously I picked my family because that's what means the world to me. Till this day, they are my life. And oh, I hate it. I hate when I cry. The thought of me not having my family with me would kill me. Like, that would literally kill me. And I decided to get help. And we actually called, and I got an appointment the very next day because it was kind of urgent. And my husband expressed that his wife had suicidal thoughts, and they immediately wanted to see me. So I went in the next day, and I think a lot of people think they're gonna get judged and they're gonna be looked down on. I didn't. My doctors were amazing. They took me in with arms wide open. They did not treat me like I was fragile. They talked to me and they said that this was so normal, and I was diagnosed with postpartum depression. And I was put on medication, which I'm not going to disclose what medication I was put on because again, I don't want to talk about that. But I was put on medication for a while, and honestly, that was the best thing that could happen to me. I started to see my doctor regularly. I did not get therapy though, because once I started taking the medication, I did see a lot of help. I mean, I did see a lot of change in me. I'm not saying therapy is not a good idea. Maybe I should have done therapy. I didn't do it though. But that's what they advised me, was therapy and medication, and surround yourself with people. Once I got home from the doctor and we picked up my medication, the next step was telling my mom. And I called my mom and I just told her, Mommy, I need you. And the next day she came over and I told her everything I was feeling. And I don't know why I was afraid to tell my mom, because my mom's always been such a super mom, and I don't think people tell her this enough, but she's been an amazing mom. And I was afraid to tell her. I didn't want her to judge me, or for her to think that there was something wrong with me, which there was, but you know what I mean. And again, not to get into a lot of personal details on her end, but she just embraced me and told me that she had dealt with a lot of similar things when she had me and my brothers, and that she 100% related with me, and that she wished I had come to her sooner. And I wish I had, because I think she would have helped me a lot. So when that happened, my mom did end up coming almost for an entire month, almost every day, to help me, to be my support system, to listen to me. She made me promise that if I ever felt any kind of negative thought about myself or about me as a mom, to please let her know and talk to her about it, that she would never judge me, and she never has. And I don't know why I was so afraid to tell her, because my mom's not a closed book. My mom is so easy to talk to, but I was just so afraid of judgment. I didn't want to let her down. I didn't want her to think that I was not a good mom. I wanted her to know that she did a good job raising me. That was hard. And then I told the two most important people, which was my husband and my mom, and they were here helping me all the way until things got better, my medication set in, and just being able to talk to my husband and my mom about it openly really helped me. I want to say I dealt with it for about 7 months straight. I had postpartum depression, and then I finally felt like myself, and I haven't dealt with it ever since. I haven't even dealt with depression ever since. I am leaving a lot of details out because I still want to keep a lot of those things private. If this video reaches anyone out there currently struggling with this, or if you don't know you have this and you think you have postpartum depression, or you think you have this, or whatever the case may be, I just want you to know, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose you, but I want you to know that you are loved and you're important, and the people in your life need you. Your kids need you, and there's no one in this world that can replace you. Nobody's gonna do your job better than you. And right now you may think that you're not worth anything. You may feel like you're not being the best parent, that your kids are better off without you, or you may even feel like your kids don't need you. You feel like you don't love yourself. Postpartum depression, you can have it very mild, or you can have a very severe case. Like I said, I don't know. I can't diagnose you, but I can tell you that your family and your kids love you. You have a support system out there. You won't be judged. This is normal. If you get help from your doctor, which I really recommend you do, they will make you feel like this is okay. They're going to get the help. They're going to give you the help you need. And once you get that help, things will get so much better. But you need to get that help, and you need to put yourself out there, and you need to accept the fact that you need help. And that's what took me such a long time to accept. And things could have been better if I would have gotten help beforehand, but things did have to get worse before they got better for me. And if you can avoid yourself all of that heartache and the big mess, and having your family involved and everyone worried for you, I would go back and get the help before things got worse. But just know that you're amazing and you're the best mom. You're just going through it right now. Your body is having some kind of imbalance, and it just needs some help. And that is pretty much all I can say. And I know this video wasn't a very happy video, but I wanted to bring awareness to postpartum depression, and I wanted to let people know that it's normal and it's okay to go through this, and it doesn't define you as a person or as a mom. You're just going through something that a lot of women go through, and unfortunately we're too afraid to talk about sometimes. I know I was afraid to talk about. I still am afraid to talk about it sometimes, and I don't really tell my story to a lot of people. But I just want to let everyone know that today I am a different person. I'm happy, and I know that one of my biggest fears having a third baby was going through this again. So far, we're good. I feel really happy with my life. I feel really happy with my baby. And back to after I kind of had my postpartum depression, I instantly bonded with Amelia again. It was all an imbalance in my body. I don't really know how to say it. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on things, but once I got the help I needed, I immediately started bonding with her and clicking with her, and till this day I just have such a special connection with her, and I think it's because of what I went through. I love her so much. I love all my kids, but I love her so much. But I hope this video helps at least one of you out there. If you guys just need a friend, feel free to DM me. I try to reply as much as I can, and yeah, I would say I hope you enjoyed this video, but it wasn't a very enjoyable video. But I hope it reached to you guys, or I hope you guys, I hope this video helped you guys get to know me a little better, kind of hear my story and connect with me on another level. And I hope this brings more awareness. And I'm gonna leave some numbers and links below to some hotlines and things like that if anyone needs help, you know, all of that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.